Hello, this is Ricky Pound back with another video. I've done a few things slightly different and hopefully the presentations will be a little bit livelier with a lot of detail of the plates. So today I'm going to be talking about a Meissen plate with early European landscape scenes. Now this is one of the first plates I ever bought, probably about 4 years ago. So I'm looking forward to talking to you about it and some of the decorative motifs on it. So here we are. This is the central cartouche. It is an early Meissen landscape scene. So we're probably talking about 1728 to 1730, something like that. Although the porcelain itself is older, as we'll see in a minute, it does not have the famous Meissen cross swords, and the cross swords were introduced from around 1725 onwards, although there was a statement from around 1723 saying the cross sword should be introduced. So what do we have on this plate? Well, we have this lovely cartouche. It's gilded, you've got these red and you've got these purple feathers, and then inside you've got this very low landscape scene dominated by this obelisk type structure right in the centre with some houses to the right and a couple of individuals to the left, and this very nice tree which looks slightly damaged, maybe it's been hit by lightning, on the left. Now, when we look at these kind of scenes, one painter comes to mind at this time. I just want to read you this little bit from a book by Janet Gleason called The Arcanium, and it puts forward the case actually that this was painted by this particular artist. So, Johann George Heintze left behind him a legacy of porcelain arranged with Arcadian landscapes and harbour scenes, in which his favourite motif, an obelisk, provides a reliable sign of authorship as the signature or initials so expressly forbidden by Herald. And this is true. Meissen porcelain painters at the time were not allowed. It was forbidden to sign their works of art in any ways. So certain people such as Herald would use certain decorative motifs such as milestones or obelisks or architecture itself to hide either their signatures or use the obelisk, as we see here, as a kind of identification that he is the painter of this particular piece. Just coming out a little bit, you can see the ruined tree in front of you, and then you've got this lovely, what is known as Bottiger to the left, this purplish thick paint that you can see within the gilding, and then on top of there you've got these lovely purple feathers again and red feathers as well. And as we go up to the top, you can see yet again the Bottiger and this very, very thick gilded strap work that goes all the way around the plates. Now, for those of you that know a little bit about Meissen would know that the gilder that gilded this plate, that this is a unique pattern that would have been used on all the items in the service. And the gilder's number would normally be on the back, which we will see in just a second. So again, taken together, I think, with all this lovely gilding around the outside, the gilding around the cartouche, the feathers, and this lovely early landscape scene as well, makes this plate particularly lavish. Now, going on to the back of the plate, we can see that there's no Meissen cross swords. So this plate was probably produced in the early 1720s, and then the painting applied a little bit later, probably, as I said, around 1727, 1729, something like that. Now, the gilder's number of 39 can be seen at the centre, and then around the outside, you've got these curious triple lines, these iron red lines. Now, You find these on early pieces really from around 1725 to 1735. So it lasts for about 10 years. And the origin is based on Chinese and Japanese porcelain, particularly those again from the 17th and early 18th century. And we will see some examples on the next slide. And these are the Japanese and the Chinese examples that I've told you about. You can see, particularly in the center one, how you've got three concentric lines closely spaced together just around the outside of the foot, whilst you've also got some inside the foot as well. And these come from Japan and from China. And three other Meissen plates here of mine, all again with these concentric circles around the outside, so you can count three of them. The one on the left is rarer because it's actually in puce. It's not in the usual iron red. So these all date from approximately 1725 to 1735. The one on the right, you've got 76, which is the gilder's number. Above it, you can see the cross swords as well with these engorged pommels at the base, which is another sign of an early piece as well. And so yet again here is just to remind you of the saucer in question. Now I just thought I'd show you a few more very much in the style which may themselves have been decorated by Heintze. Here we have an absolutely lovely, a beautiful saucer. Notice most of the action here is in the bottom third. We have a hunting scene. We have similar types of trees again. Lovely gilding around the outside. And what is particularly interesting here, if you look around the cartouche, you can see small oriental figures painted in orange or red on pedestals placed around the outside of the cartouche. And the same applies to the matching beaker. We've got oriental gentlemen painted on pediments just on the cartouche itself. Now I thought I'd just show you a close-up of these fantastic oriental figures. Starting on the left, you can see two near the top sat on some kind of luggage or cargo. You've got one beneath at a table, and then on the right there's one that seems to be sat on a barrel and another one walking. And then if you look at the cup or the beaker, you can see two more figures in red as well. This is such a luxurious way of decorating Meissen porcelain. You do find it in some examples, but usually it does denote those that are the most finely painted. And here is my plate on the right, superimposed against the plate that you've just seen on the left. And I think you can see similarities here very much in the painting, particularly with the subject being confined to the bottom third of the central cartouche. And this is a teapot, almost certainly again painted by Heintze. Most of it, as you can see, again confined to the bottom third. Got a lovely bridge here, a statue as well, and extra staffage. And that is repeated on the cover of the teapot. I thought I'd take the opportunity to show you a couple more of my teapots, of my pieces. This one almost certainly is painted by Heintze. In the middle you've got this telltale obelisk with a couple of people sat in front, architectural ruins to the left, a couple of people on horses as well, all set within this very elaborate gilded cartouche, and dragon spout to the left. And here we zoom in, you've got a much better look at this lovely obelisk and the characters in front of it as well. And in the background in puce as well, you've got some kind of hill with a possible house or two on the top. and then to the left you've got the architectural ruins, and of course you've got these lovely wispy birds as well in the background. And this is the second cartouche. On the other side of the teapot, you've got this lovely neoclassical statue to the left with greenery and three people in front all talking. You've got a possible village in the background, again in puce, some rock work as well, and again you've got this elaborate cartouche with the strapwork gilding as well. This is a close-up of those figures, very well painted. And here is a second Meissen teapot that I own, almost certainly again painted by Heintze. You've got these figures stood in front of the tree. The tree looks as if it's been hit by lightning, quite possibly, because the top end of it has fallen off. Then you've got figures on a horse and a boat on the left with this kind of cruciform mast. And they're all set within this quite rococo frame to the cartouche, and then on the top you've got the cover. Quite interestingly as well, you've got these scattered bugs around the outside of the cartouche, enhancing what is already quite an intricate and beautiful teapot. And here's a close-up of the figures. Got some birds in the sky as well. And this, of course, is the reverse. We'll see a detail in a minute. We've got a harbour scene architecture, what appears to be some kind of parasail, and three figures on a sandy beach, and topped off by these lovely shells. And there is a much closer look at these figures. And you have to remember, these figures are painted very, very small. And here we have a view of the top of the teapot with the cover and this lovely gilding around the outside, this swirling gilding. And you can just about make out flowers again painted on the porcelain to the left and the right. The cover itself is painted with two cafferati or harbour scenes, which we will see in detail in just a second, of trading pursuits. And here we have the cover to the teapot. You can see this lovely gilded finial, and then you've got the two harbour scenes, which I've managed to show both here. Also of note, if you just look around the perimeter, you can see again this idea of concentric lines in sort of iron red paint as well, reinforcing that kind of oriental link that Meissen had in the early years. So these are scenes of ports, of commercial trading, of goods coming in and goods coming out. So this would have been the likes of porcelain, tea, cocoa, tobacco, etc. Well, that brings us to the end of this presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it and that you've learned a little bit about European landscape scenes on early Meissen and about one of the artists involved. If you like this, please check out my other videos. There's about another 38, 39 of them, plus the videos in the future. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I would be incredibly grateful if you did. Until next time, have a great day and see you then.